This video is brought to you by NES Bitbox Game Cases, the best way to display and store your NES games. So be sure to check out stoneagegamer.com/bitbox to place an order, link below. Hey gamers, how you doing? My name is John with Gamester81.com. This episode I'll be reviewing a game that I'm really excited about. It just came out, I believe, November of last year, 2013. I heard about this through a good friend of mine. His name's Chris. He's got a great YouTube channel called Weekend Game Guy. And one of his series is he talks about games that he's been playing. And he talked about He-Man, which is a new beat-em-up game based on the really popular cartoon show from the 80s, He-Man. I loved He-Man growing up as a kid. It's one of those shows that's just iconic. If you guys aren't familiar with the series itself, it actually, Mattel created a toy line, which are these figures right here. Here's He-Man, here's Orko, and here's Skeletor, and there's a whole bunch of other characters in the series. But Mattel wanted a really popular toy line in the 80s to market towards boys, right? They eventually later came up with a series, kind of a spin-off series called She-Ra, which was geared towards girls, although it's kind of related, and actually it's pretty enjoyable as well. I think even if you're a guy, you'd probably enjoy the series. But it was a very successful toy line, very successful comic book series, because basically these figures came with mini comics, very popular TV series. And what's interesting about every episode is that at the end of every episode, there was like a moral, there was a lesson to be learned in it. Interesting enough, George Lucas, who obviously started Star Wars, reached out to Mattel in 1976, right before Star Wars A New Hope came out. He wanted Mattel to license his toy line. Mattel turned it down, eventually went to Kenner. They picked it up, and obviously we all know how popular the Star Wars toys were for Kenner. It's just a huge line for them. I think Mattel regretted doing that, so that's why they basically came out with the He-Man toy line. And legend has it that people speculate that He-Man is actually based on Conan the Barbarian. I guess at one point Mattel had the licenses to use Conan, the characters. They lost that, but they, through the working on that project, they learned some things, and they designed He-Man, which looks very, very similar to Conan the Barbarian. But basically, this game itself just came out, and it's a fan-made game, so it's free, which is awesome. It's available on PC. It can play on Android. It can play on Mac. I'll put a link below. You can check it out. And the animation and sprites of this game really fit and match the cartoon itself. I love the cutscenes, and you can play as various characters. You can play as He-Man. You can play as Orko. You can play as Man-at-Arms. You can play Ram Man, Teela, as well as She-Ra. What's really cool is you can play as Lino from Thundercats, which is another great cartoon series from the 80s. So I download this game, and I really encourage you guys to check it out. I'm going to show you some gameplay footage of it. You can determine if you want to check out this game or not. But if you like beat 'em ups, this is definitely a game to check out. And it's got a really cool versus mode as well. And this game, guys, isn't complete yet. I know the designer is still working on it, so there really isn't an ending to this game. But I know he was mentioning that they're going to basically do 9 stages. And they're going to have 23 stages for the versus mode, which is awesome. And this game looks like it can play up to 4 players based on the level design, although I don't believe that you can play this game currently online. Maybe you can play local player, multiplayer, I'm not sure, or maybe perhaps there's going to be a patch later on where you can actually play multiplayer. But let me know what you guys think of this game. And without any further ado, let's check out He-Man, the new beat-em-up game. Here is the main menu. You have story mode, versus mode, and practice mode. Once you decide what mode you want to do, you pick your character. Here's your character select screen. I love He-Man's probably my preferred character, but Lino's pretty sweet. Once you decide which character you want to be, you can actually push up and down and change the variation, which is awesome. So that blue He-Man there is known as Faker. He's an evil He-Man, as it appeared in several episodes of the He-Man cartoon series and comic books. So let's go and choose He-Man, and once we decide that, let's get started. I'll show you the first stage. We start with Battle Cat here, and basically Battle Cat, you can jump on your enemies, these robots, and the stages alternate. So you have a stage kind of like this, and you have a beat 'em up stage. So it's kind of a lot of variation in the game, which is cool. Here's 2 other characters, Orko and She-Ra, to kind of show you the differences of gameplay in this particular stage and how it compares, which is cool. But I love the variation, and each character handles a little bit different, has different abilities, of course. Here's the second stage. Object is to free these people and obviously kill all the enemies on the stage. You do have several abilities. You can actually do like down, forward, and action button, which is basically kind of like a Hadouken. And in He-Man's case, he throws the sword. And you can actually attack several people at once, which is nice. And you can also do kind of an upper punch as well. So you push forward, down, forward in action. So those definitely come into play for when you're playing versus, of course, as well as when you're doing a beat 'em up stage. These crystals act as kind of a health surge. So my health bar is in top left corner. Start with basically three lives, and you have 3 continues in the game. What I do like is when you die, you actually can continue. You can change your character, which is sweet. So we'll get some of these crystals here. A lot of these enemies here are from the show, and as you can see there, just through the sword. Love the music in this game. It definitely fits the show very, very well, and just the animation fits really well. There's very little load time in this game. The only complaint I have about this is that this game does play in a small window box on the PC, so you can't play full screen mode. So that's kind of too bad. Hopefully they can patch that up and fix that later on. You also get these enemies here once you get the middle. You gotta be careful because you sure enough you will die eventually if you're not too careful. But let's see. Let's change characters here. We'll go on to show you. This is kind of Lino. This is what I was talking about as far as his version of this particular theme stage, and you can see he's got on this platform here and firing. This is more of a shmup to me. I actually prefer this than, for example, Battle Cat or the pony that She-Ra rides. I can't quite think of his name. I think it's really cool that they added Lino to this game, because even though Lino is not necessarily part of the He-Man universe, he's got Thundercats theme. I think it definitely fits, and obviously cartoons came out the same time. This particular character is known as Ram Man. He is one of the allies of He-Man, one of his friends. And I actually loved this figurine when it came out, because when this figure came out, it had springs in his legs and he could jump up, which is basically what his character does in the show. I think this is I was really excited about this game when it first came out, and it's a lot of fun, especially for free. I really recommend it. Like I said before, I'll leave a link to this game below. I really encourage you guys to download it. Certainly check it out. You got nothing to lose. Please show support to the developer as well. He's got a link to his PayPal account, and obviously he's not making money on this game because of copyright reasons, but nonetheless, I think people like this should be supported on projects like this. So let me know what you guys think about this game, and let me know if there's any other maybe 80 cartoon shows that you'd like to see made into video games, which, if so, which ones. We'll see you guys soon. I appreciate you guys subscribing, and if you guys want to stay in touch, you can follow me on Facebook, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, of course, my website, Gamester81.com. We'll see you guys soon. Take care and happy gaming.